read the caption here. It says, "Great analysis, PLO Lumumba on the situation on the countries Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger." I like how he did like a good history background of the things. You know, what happened before leads to what happens now, and like I was saying about the influence that you can have that maybe doesn't take the have the effect that you want to have right away, like the Thomas Sankara and changing the name of the country and all of that. You do no small part in inspiring what the people are doing in Burkina Faso today. They can see, when you give the people a stark contrast, of how things go when this ideology or this perspective is in charge versus how things go when a different ideology, a competing ideology is in charge. The people can compare and contrast, and they're smart, and they'll be like, wait, this wasn't working for us, and this was. So let's go back to what was working. Let me read a caption here. It says, "They belittle the movement by calling it a military coup. It's not a coup, but a revolution. And it's not against any law for people to revolt against a government that no longer serves the collective interests of the citizens. They call it a coup just to justify their usual unsolicited intervention, which is often a subterfuge for the re-enthronement of the same ousted system. The politics here is that of a subtle but calculated use of language to justify Western interference. It's not a coup, but a justified revolution. Power belongs to the people. They bestow it and can as well take it back. That process is itself the very origin and foundation of government and the state." So the state is sanctioned by the people. So the people give the state the power to govern, and the people can take that away. If the state is not governing in a way that is good for the people as a whole, it's been like that forever. So the more things change, the more things stay the same. So even in European countries, when you had like a king or whatever, the king was beholden to the people always. He's worried. He's worried every day. That you think that they're not afraid, even with the systems that we have today. They are afraid. You have the situation with the United Healthcare shooter, and they charged the guy with terrorism. That is an indication of fear. The overreaction to this one person being killed. It's an indication that they are afraid. They charge this dude with terrorism, and it's like, what definition of terrorism does that fit? But it works when you think about how the CEOs of these corporations that are doing shady things are afraid of somebody shooting them on the streets. Then they're terrified. So then there goes the definition of terrorism that works. So, they want to make the people think that they don't have any power, that they're weak, that we're weak, that there's nothing we can do, and things are going to continue to go the way that they've been going. It's going to benefit the status quo eventually, no matter what you do. And that's how I feel a lot of times. I like to follow politics a lot, and it's like, I feel like your vote is just it's a pacifier. Voting is a pacifier, and you wait 4 years and vote, and then wait 4 years again, and it's like the cycle continues. They make you choose between Pepsi or Coke, and it's like essentially the same thing. And it's like, what does it actually accomplish? But see, if voting didn't have any impact at all, like at all, then you wouldn't have had situations where they were trying to suppress the vote, where they were gerrymandering and drawing up these districts in ways that dilute the power. You wouldn't have had things like in the civil rights era where people died, you know, for their opportunity to have their voice heard politically. So it does have an impact. It's just that you can't go at things with one, you know, you can't when it's not an election year, you can't go to sleep, basically. And there's other ways to fight, you know, and you have to fight in every way possible if you want to win. You can't just look at the politics and think that that's the only way to get things done. And look at how the United Healthcare shooting has sparked this conversation about healthcare across the country. You know, you can't bury this stuff. It's like putting a rug over a smoldering fire. You know, it's percolating underneath there. You know, and at some point it's going to turn back into a full 4 alarm fire. You know, the revolution, it simmers. You know, the anger of the people, it simmers, and people can only they will only accept this BS for a certain amount of time. And when it comes to the point where they don't care about dying, you've got a problem on your hand. Okay, so they put all of these trinkets in our way. You know, the Lexus, you know, that house with the picket fence, you know, our family, our friends, you know, that PlayStation, whatever it is that you like, you know, they put these things as distractions, right? And you're like, I don't want to lose these things, you know, so I'll just put up with this stuff so that I can go home and spend time with my family and play my PlayStation. But when the pain of the struggle, when the pain of your oppression becomes so great that you can no longer enjoy these things, you know, nothing really matters anymore because you're just drudging through life in a painful, meaningless existence. And then it comes to the point where, you know, you're willing to give your life because you know that even your children, they're going to grow up and they're going to go through the same thing that you're going through. And you don't want that for them. You want better. And even if you don't have children, it's like the future of humanity. They're going to all continue to be slaves. They're all going to continue to be suffering.
Did you tell her to get away from me? She's crazy.
Some's got to give.